This is Unearthing Eden, a podcast hosted by two witches where we will primarily be discussing all things metaphysical and witchy. Welcome to our garden.
Hey guys, so we're gonna do a cute little Q&A, get to know us type of vibe. Off the bat, we're gonna say that we've known each other for about a year, maybe I think a little less or just about a year. We are based in South Carolina, and the goal of this project is to help new witches or people into the spiritual practice get the basics, because we have found that there is not a lot of information on that, and the information that is found is not the best thing in the world. Well, no, I don't want to say that.
Correction, because there is a lot of information on the basics, but something relatable.
Yeah, okay. So we just want to go through the basics of something relatable and how to start your practice, and everybody's going to need that reminder of how to do things.
So my name is Mickey. I'm 26 years old. I grew up in South Carolina.
And I'm Sarah. I am also 26 years old, and I grew up on Long Island in New York.
So I just want to give a brief overview of my current philosophy on life. I believe in evolution. I believe in the science of things, and that's why I also believe in manifestation and being able to change your own perspective based on your worldview through your experiences. So it is a proven thing that we're all made of atoms fundamentally. I believe that that energy transfers back into the universe after we pass away, and we can live on through the things that our energy feeds post death. I don't really believe in reincarnation specifically. I do believe that it holds merit, and I don't think that it's wrong to believe in reincarnation or anything like that. It's just my current philosophy is I believe that us as energy cannot have this level of consciousness, so that after we revert back into energy, we go back into the earth. If you choose to go the natural way, that we kind of transfer into other things around us that can live on through the energy that we give back to the earth, if that makes sense.
Hmm. What would you consider the unnatural way then?
So nowadays, we have a lot of chemicals and everything that's pumped into our body post death. And, there are reasons behind why, embalming is a thing. And I don't necessarily disagree with it, but it is chemicals that you're putting into the ground.
Hmm.
And we're also going into metal vaults and these tombs. And I think that when we reverted from the completely natural decaying process going straight into the ground or surrounded by natural items, that we kind of deviate from that, we can't really give our full selves back to the earth in that manner.
So you would be like a fan of the when you die, you go into the people that make you into like a tree. So your body decomposes in the box with the wood chips and everything like that, and then they.
Yeah, so that's something that I was really interested in when I researched it, because there's a specific way that I want to be handled post death. And I definitely want to, there's like ways you could become mulch, and they help with like forest and stuff like that regrow, different things like that. And yes, the tree thing was really interesting to me. There was also another option where you can, like, it's the mulch thing, but it can be given to your family members, like how they would ashes,
Yeah,
but instead you could use it in your garden.
right. And I
And
love
it,
that.
mind you, this is not like a dead body that they're handing out. You are completely decomposed at this point. There is no human DNA left to salvage from the pieces. So you're not like putting decaying things in your garden, mind you. Like it literally looks like mulch that you could buy.
Right, because at the end of the day, they have to have this scientifically proven to not cause issues in the ground.
Exactly. That could be a biohazard at that point, but it's not. Everything's safe with it. That's something that I was really interested in, though.
That is really interesting. Well, my current philosophy is similar. I believe in evolution, I believe in science, I believe in the spiritual side of things as well. My views on the afterlife are a little slightly different. I don't want to say fully different, because I do believe in some type of reincarnation, but not like coming back as another human being. I believe that what you give in life has you coming back in a different spiritual way. So it could be as an animal, or as an insect, or as a plant or something like that that just kind of grows and that's still a living organism. And then with each life, there's a I don't want to say like there's a time frame or like a limit on how many, but you don't remember your previous one, so you can kind of just keep recycling your soul because I do believe the soul is the key to everything. And then eventually the soul just kind of either fizzles away or it goes somewhere else, or you stay in the
Okay,
same cycle.
so you believe that everything has a soul, like
Yeah.
a soul is fundamental. Okay,
Yeah.
I
Like
like
every
that actually.
organism has a soul. Like even the single cell organisms, if it is classified as an organism, it has a soul because and what that's also where it comes into really problematic whenever I kill bugs because I feel like I feel bad but also stay out of my house.
No, I get that.
So, but it's there. There's something there, which is why I always feel like, even though I know there's nothing physically there, I always feel like whenever I'm standing outside or like in the trees or like in the woods, I feel like I'm always being like watched. Do you ever have that feeling?
Yeah.
That's why I think that there's a soul in everything.
See, for me, I struggle with my belief of a soul since my core belief is literally everything is just energy.
Yeah.
And I think that it does live in everything. Now, when we're talking first, I associate a soul with sentience.
Gotcha.
And like I said, I don't even know if I believe in the core value of a soul. I do believe in like a higher self. I don't know if that would be considered the same thing, but in my mind it's different. So, in my mind your higher self is your subconscious
Yeah.
that is at its most healed state, like mentally and spiritually, and that a soul is something different entirely. I'm
And
not opposed to the idea of it by any means. I just think it's interesting.
I mean, it's super I like and I feel like whenever we talk soul, people think of like one certain thing. I guess I could see it. It's not really like right from wrong and everything like that. Like it's not like the mainstream. I think it's more energy based, but I feel like it's the same energy that comes back and keeps going through everything that's like constantly being reborn
Yeah,
in a way. So I don't want to call it like, you have no soul or anything like that, or like somebody has a good soul or a bad soul. It just is.
I agree with that. That's a really good sentiment.
Thank you.
Well, I've been on my personal journey for about 10 years now, 10, 11 years coming up. And yeah, the way I believed definitely has changed over time, like over the last 10 years drastically.
No, I agree. I mean, I've been in my practice for like 5, 6 years ish, and only recently have I been focusing on it. But because I was raised Catholic, like Roman Catholic, it was always heaven or hell, never reincarnation, never in between. So I think that my thought process has also shifted crazy amount since then, but my family never really fully subscribed to that theory. Like they thought that, things could be reincarnated. At least my mom's side did.
See, that's interesting to me too, because I've noticed some people who come out of Christianity believe in reincarnation. And there is some proof of reincarnation. There's some valid proof.
I think reincarnation as a whole, if a person is reincarnated into another person, there's a reason behind it. Like cut their existence was cut short to the point of where the universe was like, that's not supposed to happen. So they had to bring them back as another person because their time was not done.
Yeah, see, I that's interesting to me. There was another theory of reincarnation that I was interested in, which this is what I believed previously, which was we live everything. Basically, at some point you have to be the good guy, you have to be the bad guy, the victim, the predator, like whatever. Like you
Mhm.
have to live through every version of your shadow and yourself to be able to filter it out and to move on to the next phase of the afterlife, the spirit world, which, the astral realm
Yeah.
where you can basically go into it's like a buffer between lives. And
No,
that's
I
why there's a lot of people that say like sleeping is the closest that we will get to death while we're alive.
I could see that. I could see the questions I would have with that though. It's like, how many times am I gonna have to like if you remembered it, like I don't want to say hypothetically, but like if you remembered it, how many times would you have to go through being the victim or being the bad guy, like knowing that you
So
have to change?
the way that I knew it, and this isn't like by any means a lesson on it because this is just what I believe like years back. So you would relive it as many times as you needed to. Time
Mhm.
is endless. So you can't ask how many times when time doesn't exist to this realm
Time is just a
because
figure of us putting stuff
yeah,
to a day.
it's you could say lifetime, like your standard life is literally nothing compared to the age of the planet itself. So in that case it could be, and we could also go into the whole thing of when did a human soul first form. If we originally came from the water as a fish, as a single celled organism, where did that soul or that reincarnation begin?
Right.
Or could it have just been birthed from the universe
I can
once
definitely
everything started expanding?
I can subscribe to the fact that it was derived from the universe, which is why I like my little theory of like not theory, but like my little belief of every organism has a soul and then it just keeps getting changed around depending
Yeah,
on what's needed next. Like the universe knows what it wants and what it needs.
exactly. That's another reason why I believe in evolution, aside from all of the obvious, like, proof of evolution that's out there. We
Right.
can't really deny it.
Like the science behind it.
Yeah, yeah. The science behind evolution makes so much sense. And I think that can also make you think that the earth itself and the universe has a way that it's going. I'm not saying I don't believe in that a deity created us.
I
I
agree.
don't really believe in miracles or that any deity is going to come down and save our lives or do anything for us. I believe that we are our own gods of our own perspective, and you may not be able to control the things around you that happen, but you can control how you react to these things. And I believe that we build our own perspective. I'm not saying that if you are really sad, that you can just make yourself be happy. We have to feel these things to be human. But I do believe that perspective is a big deal in your manifestation, in your spell work. If you are doing a spell or something like that and you don't believe that it's gonna work, then why would it work?
No, I agree with that. And I can also I see where you're like the perspective is everything, but then like you said, you can't just make yourself happy. Like there are like me and myself, like I have the chemical imbalance that causes depression. And it's like as much as I would love to just be happy all the time, there are times where I'm like, wow, I cannot do anything. I just feel stuck. And even though it's
Yeah.
not my fault, like I have to remind myself that I can't fault myself. And as long as I get up, brush my teeth, and change my clothes and take a shower, I've done enough.
Yeah, and see, that's another form of switching your perspective. Like, instead of saying, I have to get up and finish every single task on my list, say, okay, I feel down today. I'm at least going to take a shower and eat
Yeah.
a snack. And you could just make these small attainable goals. Not to say that if you don't get up and take a shower, I really know how it is
Yeah.
when it comes to mental health. Yeah, exactly. To give you guys a brief timeline of my personal beliefs and how I grew from it, I started off as a Southern Baptist, and then we ended up converting into Church of God for a while, and then back to Baptist. We kind of went back and forth on those. And then once I turned, I want to say about 15 years old, I first discovered witchcraft and I started doubting my faith in Christianity. And this is not directly caused because of witchcraft. I was already kind of having questions and doubts on things and disagreeing with certain philosophies that were being presented to me growing up. So I discovered being a Wiccan. So when I was moving from Christianity to paganism, I started off as a Wiccan. And I think I practiced that for less than a year. Um, because I started learning about all of these other paths that you can take, and it's a little overwhelming. So I think I was learning a lot of stuff in folk magic and general paganism. I mean, it's an umbrella term. You can really ascribe it to almost anything. And it's just a really broad term. So I was looking into a bunch of different cultures, learning what was closed practice and what wasn't, what would be possible for me to even practice based on how I grew up, where I am physically. And if I had to label myself anything now, I think I'm more closely folk magic than I am, or a folk magic witch. I don't really put a label on it specifically.
Mhm.
It just is.
Mhm. Okay. My pipeline, can I call it that?
Yeah.
My pipeline is like I said, I started as Roman Catholic. I was born and raised into it. So I went to Catholic school from I think pre-K up until 5th grade, up through 5th grade, 6th grade, sorry. And then 7th through 12th, I went to public school. And that's when I really started to doubt some things. I don't want to say doubt, but like I started to really not fall in line with it. And then I left New York and I moved down south and I started to see other things. Like I saw a lot of the Baptist churches and I was like, I don't really align myself with that. And then to be fully honest with you, I was on TikTok in like 2018, 2019ish, and that's when I started to see like what my thoughts were like on paper and what I was leaning more towards. So then I started to look into it and then I felt really guilty about not being Catholic. And then I tried to go back and then I was like, this isn't the vibe that I'm feeling anymore. So I've just kind of been like, I don't want to call it soft launching, but I can kind of call it soft launching my craft, but I would consider myself more like green ish to deal with like nature and the elements and just better grounding and getting to know myself and like my like like what I want to be better. And then if it's going to change eventually.
So the card I pulled for this episode was the King of Pentacles. I pulled it from my Modern Witch Tarot deck by Lisa Sturley. And the King of Pentacles basically means financial success, material gain. It can mean you or someone in your life is very grounded and stable. It's associated with the earth element. This card really bodes well for anyone who's interested in starting a new business venture or a new project. It can also represent a strong figure. It says male figure, but I think it could mean any gender figure in your life that you might be looking up to at this time. They might seem very stable and grounded, but it can also mean that you need to focus on completing a task for that It can also mean you need to be focusing on completing a task that you may have been putting off or procrastinating.
Okay, so today's crystal is lapis lazuli, which is a beautiful blue stone. It derives from the Latin word lapis, which is stone, and then the Persian word lazuward. I don't speak Persian, so I'm so sorry. I definitely butchered that, which means blue. Some of the properties for lapis lazuli is it is one of the biggest truth stones. So if you're looking for open communication, truth with yourself, truth with another person, truth with a certain situation or ideal, that's going to be the best stone to have on your person or as a tower or as a palm stone. It is great for spiritual and emotional healing, which then helps with the mental health healing. But again, always consult a medical professional for any type of mental health assistance. It also helps with chakra balancing. When it comes to the intuition and spiritual awareness, it is one of the oldest stones known to man or woman because, we love them. Anyway, they were used in a lot of priest or priestess or shaman practices for a lot of the healing. It also can help with inflammation or internal problems. Again, don't eat it. Please don't eat it. It'll help if like you set it on yourself. But again, consult a medical professional, please. But the biggest thing that it is just a universal truth telling stone. It's going to be your best friend when it comes to that type of situation or necessity. I like to have them on me. Personally, I have a few of them. I have 2 towers. I have one in my house and one at my job on my desk. And I also wear a bracelet for lapis lazuli so that way I know that I'm always walking into the truth of a situation or somebody's not going to lie to me or not tell me the full truth and the full honest everything, which I find super helpful, especially when I am at work, whenever, when I do the job that I do. Now, even though I'm a Capricorn, I love it and it works well for me, but Sagittarius and Virgo signs are going to benefit the most from lapis lazuli. For a Sagittarius is going to promote optimism and inner peace and clarity. And then for Virgos, it's going to help you release that overabundance of modesty and it's going to help you embrace a more confident self. To cleanse it, you can use like some water. It's not it's a soft stone, but it's not going to disintegrate in water, thankfully. And just use like a nice little paper towel, put your intentions into it, or you can cleanse it under moonlight. And then now to my favorite part. Where can it be found? Afghanistan. It has one of the oldest and deepest deposits of of naturally occurring lapis lazuli, which is why it's Latin Persian derived name. It's also found in Siberia, Chile, the United States, and Canada. All the mines, as we know from Minecraft, they're pretty accurate with that. You can mine for it. Please don't. Remember, you can always buy it, but lapis lazuli does consist of lazurite, sodalite, calcite, and then it'll have pyrite with the gold flecks. So that's when you'll get your extra shiny, extra blue, depending on how much rock or filament or I don't even know what they're called off the top of my head. I'm so sorry. Depending on how much is in each one, it's never going to be an equal amount. One thing is going to always power more. Most of the lapis lazulis are going to have an overabundance of lazurite, which is going to give it that bright blue shining texture, which is why it was seen as a godstone, a truth stone, because the priests and priestesses and the royalty back in the day would wear it and they would have it as jewelry, as in their crowns and everything like that, because blue is a royal color similar to purple. Thank you for coming to our garden. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content. Let us know in the comments how you used the crystal we showcased today and if you would like us to talk about any in the future. See you next time.